The Real Appearance of Jesus Christ, a documentary. Introduction. For centuries, the image of Jesus Christ has been a cornerstone of Western art and culture, typically depicting a fair-skinned man with long, flowing hair and a beard. Yet, this widely accepted portrayal often clashes with historical and archaeological realities. This documentary embarks on a journey to uncover the most probable physical appearance of Jesus, delving into historical records, archaeological discoveries, forensic science, and the evolving landscape of artistic representation. We will explore how cultural context shaped his image and examine modern attempts to reconstruct his face, seeking to bridge the gap between popular imagination and historical likelihood. Chapter 1. The Historical Jesus, a first-century Judean. To understand Jesus's likely appearance, we must first place him firmly within his historical and geographical context. First-century Judea. Archaeological and historical evidence suggests that people in this region, including Jews, possessed distinct physical characteristics. According to historian Joan Taylor, Jesus would have been of average height for his time, likely around 5 feet 5 inches, consistent with skeletal remains from the period. His skin would have been olive brown, tanned from the Middle Eastern sun, and his eyes dark brown, typical of the region's population. Contrary to many popular depictions, men in Judea generally kept their hair and beards relatively short and well-combed, primarily for hygiene to prevent lice. Long hair was uncommon unless associated with specific religious vows, such as the Nazirite vow, which Jesus did not appear to take, as he was known to drink wine. His clothing would have been typical of a working-class man of the era. A simple tunic, possibly seamless as mentioned in the Gospel of John, and a mantle worn over it. The mantle would likely have had tassels at the corners, in observance of Jewish law. He would have worn simple leather sandals on his feet. These details paint a picture far removed from the Europeanized image that became prevalent centuries later. Chapter 2. Early Christian Art. The Good Shepherd and Beyond. The earliest artistic representations of Jesus emerged not as portraits, but as symbolic figures within the Roman catacombs. These early Christians, often persecuted, used art to convey theological concepts rather than physical likeness. One of the most prominent early images is that of the Good Shepherd, depicting Jesus as a youthful, beardless figure with short hair, often carrying a lamb. This imagery, found in places like the Catacomb of Priscilla, drew heavily from classical Roman art, where similar figures represented philanthropy or pastoral care. It emphasized Jesus' role as protector and savior, rather than his specific physical features. Another early, albeit mocking, depiction is the Alexamenos graffito, dating to the 2nd or 3rd century. This crude drawing shows a crucified figure with a donkey's head, accompanied by the inscription, "Alexamenos worships his God." While derogatory, it is one of the earliest pictorial references to the crucifixion. Chapter 3. The Imperial Jesus and the Letter of Lentulus. With the legalization of Christianity under Emperor Constantine in the 4th century, the artistic representation of Jesus began to shift dramatically. No longer confined to hidden catacombs, Christian art moved into public basilicas, and the image of Jesus evolved to reflect his new status as a divine ruler. This period saw the emergence of the Imperial Jesus, often depicted with a more regal and authoritative demeanor. The 6th century Christ Pantocrator icon from St. Catherine's Monastery in Sinai is a prime example, showcasing a mature, bearded figure with long hair and a stern, all-powerful gaze. This became the prototype for the standardized image of Jesus that would dominate Western art for centuries. Further influencing this standardized image was the Letter of Lentulus, a medieval forgery from the 15th century. This letter, falsely attributed to a Roman official contemporary with Jesus, provided a detailed physical description. His hair is of the color of the ripe hazelnut, straight down to the ears, but below the ears wavy and curled, with a bluish and bright reflection, flowing over his shoulders. It is parted in two on the top of the head, after the pattern of the Nazarenes. His beard is abundant, of the color of his hair, not long but divided at the chin. His eyes are blue-gray and bright. His stature is straight. Despite its inauthenticity, this letter profoundly shaped Renaissance and later artistic portrayals, contributing to the popular image of Jesus as a tall, light-skinned man with long, wavy brown hair and blue eyes. Chapter 4: Modern Reconstructions and the Shroud of Turin. In recent decades, scientific methods have been employed to attempt a more accurate reconstruction of Jesus' face. One of the most notable efforts was by medical artist Richard Neve in 2001. Using forensic anthropology techniques on 3 first-century Semitic skulls from the Galilee region, Neve created a reconstruction that presented Jesus with a broad face, dark skin, short curly hair, and a short beard. This image, widely published, challenged conventional depictions and offered a scientifically informed alternative. More recently, artificial intelligence has entered the discussion, particularly in relation to the Shroud of Turin. The shroud, a linen cloth bearing the faint image of a crucified man, has been a subject of intense debate regarding its authenticity. While carbon dating in 1988 suggested a medieval origin, more recent X-ray analysis by Dr. Liberato De Caro indicates that the fabric could indeed date back to the 1st century, aligning with samples from Masada. Leveraging this data, AI programs have generated photorealistic images based on the shroud's imprint. These AI reconstructions often show a man with shoulder-length hair and a beard, but with distinct Middle Eastern features, wounds consistent with crucifixion, and a contemplative expression. These modern efforts, while still speculative, offer compelling visual interpretations based on available evidence. Chapter 5: The Biblical Silence and Theological Implications. Perhaps one of the most striking aspects of Jesus' appearance is the near-complete silence of the New Testament Gospels on the matter. Unlike many ancient figures whose physical attributes were meticulously recorded, the Gospel writers focused almost exclusively on Jesus' teachings, miracles, and his divine mission. This omission suggests that his physical appearance was not considered central to his identity or message. The only direct biblical descriptions of Jesus' appearance come from prophetic or symbolic contexts. The prophet Isaiah wrote, "He had no beauty or majesty to attract us to him, nothing in his appearance that we should desire him." This passage, often interpreted as a prophecy about Jesus, suggests an ordinary, unremarkable appearance, emphasizing his humility and suffering rather than any striking physical beauty. The Book of Revelation describes a glorified, post-resurrection Jesus with symbolic attributes. His head and hair were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were like blazing fire. His feet were like bronze glowing in a furnace, and his voice was like the sound of rushing waters. This apocalyptic vision is clearly not a literal description of his earthly form, but a symbolic representation of his divine power and majesty. Theological implications arise from this biblical silence. The lack of a definitive physical description allowed early Christians to envision Jesus in ways that resonated with their own cultural contexts, leading to the diverse artistic interpretations seen throughout history. It also underscores the idea that his message and spiritual significance transcend any particular physical form. Conclusion: the quest to uncover the real appearance of Jesus Christ is a fascinating journey through history, art, and science. While no definitive photograph or eyewitness sketch exists, a convergence of evidence suggests a man of average height, with olive-brown skin, dark eyes, and short, dark, curly hair and a trimmed beard, typical of a first-century Judean. The iconic image of a fair-skinned, long-haired Jesus is largely a product of later artistic and cultural interpretations, heavily influenced by medieval forgeries and European aesthetics. Modern forensic and AI reconstructions offer compelling glimpses into what Jesus might have looked like, grounding his image more firmly in historical reality. Ultimately, the enduring mystery of Jesus' physical appearance serves as a powerful reminder that his impact lies not in his outward form, but in the profound spiritual and ethical teachings that have shaped billions of lives across millennia.